Nuisance lawsuits in ag are often triggered by offensive odors migrating to neighbors and landowners. While there aren't any law defenses to shield from liability, courts consider a variety of factors to determine if the farm is a nuisance. Joining us now is Roger McEowen with the Washburn University School of Law. Thanks for joining us, Roger. Let's start with some background on the right to farm laws currently in place.
Sure. Every state has enacted a right to farm law that's designed to protect existing ag operations by giving farmers and ranchers who meet certain legal requirements a defense in nuisance suits. So there are those protections in state law.
Roger, what if the ag nuisance law actually comes to you? How is the ag operation protected in these cases?
Well, the most common type of right to farm law in the states is nuisance related, and that type of statute requires that an ag operation will be protected by the statute only if it's been in existence for a specified period of time. So this type of statute basically sets in the code of that particular state what we call the coming to the nuisance defense. In other words, if I'm a farmer or I've got a ranching operation, I've got an ag operation, and you move out to me after I've been in existence for a certain period of time, and it's usually at least a year, then you're deemed to have moved out near to me, knowing the conditions that might be present and the odors that might be there and the dust and so forth, and you shouldn't be able to sue me on a nuisance theory. That's the coming to the nuisance defense. Now, if I change my operation after you move in next to me substantially, such as increase the head of livestock that I have, the manure disposal operation, my cropping practices where I'm spreading manure, those types of things, then that may not be protected by the statute.
So if a non-farmer moves nearby, then you really kind of are stuck. You really can't make any big changes because that could change your situation and what you have to deal with when it comes to that law.
Right. The question is going to be what's a substantial change and what's not a substantial change. And that's where the cases really are at on that particular issue.
So what would you say is the big takeaway here? Because we have seen more and more nuisance lawsuits coming to the forefront in the past couple years.
Well, I think the big point to be made here is always try to cultivate good relationships with your neighbors. That will go a long way to, I think, minimizing the potential risk of a nuisance lawsuit. If you have good relations with your neighbors, you get along, you can communicate concerns that neighbors might have. If you're telling them what you're going to be doing in your operation, I think that goes a long way to minimizing conflict. And I think that's probably the biggest takeaway.
That's something we can take away all across rural America. Thank you so much for your time. Roger McEowen with the Washburn University School of Law. Really appreciate you joining us.